morning, everyone.
GM.
How are you doing, Matt?
Doing good.
So it feels like it's been a while. Late September, I think, was our last call. So
Yeah.
almost 2 months.
Yeah, we're overdue. Nice to
Almost 3 months. Yeah. Wow, we are.
nice to get another one in before the year ends.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna hit some 1inch network news here while people roll into the call. So regarding the stats, total 1inch user volume across all chains hit 299 billion. So would have been cool if we hit the 300 billion mark there before the call here, for a nice round number, but over 2.5 million unique wallets. And on a non-Ethereum stat, we hit 1.2 million Twitter followers. So our marketing and PR team's happy about that one. We have some new content on YouTube. So our YouTube series, DeFi Visions. In this series, we interview leaders in the Web3 space. We have some new episodes live there. So I'll drop the link here in the community call chat. And also our 1inch co-founder, Anton Bukov, did an awesome Art of Aggregation presentation at Web Summit. This kind of just goes over how aggregators work. It's like Aggregators 101. Great video to watch. Like, I know a bit about aggregators because I work at 1inch, but I learned stuff in this presentation. So I think it's good for anyone, really. We were hitting up the conference circuit over the last couple months. So we went to Web Summit in Lisbon, DevCon in Bogota, which was probably my personal favorite, ETH Vietnam, and Philippine Blockchain Week. Matt here on the call is our conference superstar. So I think he was at every single one of those.
It's been a good year of events.
Yeah. Which one was your favorite one out of the last few months, Matt?
I'd say DevCon Bogota is probably my favorite. It's just
that one was amazing.
Yeah, so much building and creativity and good conversations going on down there.
And the food.
Yeah, the food is pretty epic.
Yeah, beautiful country. On the governance side, so the 1IP10, the Gnosis Safe airdrop claim, is currently in a revote. The original vote experienced some bugs. So yeah, I think it ended up missing the quorum by like 400,000 votes, even though it was like 99.99% voting in favor. There were bugs with this shutter plugin we were using on Snapshot. And so this vote has that turned off. So head over there and give it a vote. The recognized delegates are hard at work making proposals to strengthen the 1inch network. So if you go on to our governance forum, you can see a lot of activity from those guys, Bankless, Bubblemaps, and StableNode. And on that note, we have a staking pods proposal coming from StableNode that would improve the tokenomics and utility of 1inch, the token, and also improve the incentives to participate in the 1inch DAO. So this is probably the proposal I've been most excited about all year. I'll post it in the community calls if you guys want to give it a read. It's currently in the temperature check voting phase. Yeah, I think that would conclude tomorrow. So hopefully we'll go into the final snapshot vote tomorrow. So yeah. And then some new protocol releases. 1inch, we launched a sandwich attack solution called Rabbit Hole that works with MetaMask to prevent users being the victim of sandwich attacks. That's like a way that MEV poachers can extract some value from the user. We want to keep the funds with the user there. And then a large group of 1inch core contributors is gathered in Dubai right now, preparing a big release. We've teased it across our social media and stuff. That's basically all I'm allowed to say on that. But everyone at 1inch is working really hard on it, and we're all really excited. So hopefully we'll have a nice end of the year surprise coming up.
Yeah, I was over there for a little bit, and I'm just going to say people were working like 16 to 20-hour days round the clock. So it's going to be good.
And you went straight from the conference circuit to that, right? So you were gone from the States for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. It was a long stretch.
Right around the holidays also.
Yeah. Oh, it's worth it. It's when you love what you do, it's easy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the end of the 1inch network news. That's everything I have. Let's move into introductions. I'm Jordan. I go by Round Elephant here and on the forum, do community and governance at 1inch. You guys probably all know me if you've been attending these calls regularly. Let's hit up the other 1inch core contributors first.
My name's Matt, and I work on the support and community side of things. Yeah, also do a lot of conferences, events, and that sort of stuff.
And I don't know if Caleb's mic is on, but this is Balak, aka Caleb. Yeah, he does community and support work and highly technical, just like developer relations and highly technical support questions. And then our guests today for this community call are Commonwealth, the governance platform. So if you guys have been following the 1inch Governance Forum, we've been talking about moving over to a new platform, a more Web3 aligned forum platform for months now. And we finally settled with Commonwealth. Yeah, do you want to give a quick introduction, Rhys?
Sure. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Rhys at Commonwealth. So we like to position ourselves as an all-in-one governance platform. So that includes a token forum, off-chain voting, integration with Snapshot, and then we do support on-chain governance as well, a UI to on-chain governance contracts. So consolidating the governance process into one, I guess the biggest chunk of the governance process into one platform. Yeah, a bunch of other stuff in the works that we can go over in a little bit, but that's the gist.
Awesome. Thank you. And other members of your team are here as well, right?
Yep. Joanna is here.
Hey everyone, I'm Joanna. I do growth marketing on the BD team at Commonwealth with Rhys. I go by Crypto Jogi on Twitter. Excited to be here today to chat with you all about the exciting things in the roadmap for 1inch and Commonwealth.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for attending. Let's just jump right into it then. You kind of touched on Commonwealth earlier, Rhys. I'm just going to ask it every question. Is this just a governance forum, or is it more of a platform? Like, would we be able to do more stuff than we can do on Discourse currently? Basically, the TLDR I have on Commonwealth is just, it's a far more Web3 aligned governance forum platform, but there's probably much more to it than that, right?
Yeah, for sure. So the forum piece of it is a token forum, as I mentioned, able to log in with your wallet. And then with that, you can gate certain areas of the forum with 1inch token. So yeah, we like to position ourselves, I guess, as a Web3 forum there. And then, as I mentioned, Snapshot and then on-chain voting, you can link forum posts to snapshots and on-chain proposals all in one platform. So the community can kind of follow along from the beginning to the very end of any governance initiative, which is great. We've seen actually, I guess, the Web 2 solutions for, I guess, discussion. We've seen an average of 3 to 5% of token holders participating in discussion there. And on average, Commonwealth actually 10 to 12% of token holders participate in discussion and overall governance. So we've seen this.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
Yeah, we've seen it. It's made a really, I guess, exciting impact in governance there. And we've even seen it as high, I think it's like Stargate has something like 30 to 40% of their token holders that have participated in their discussion. So we've seen a huge uptick in participation once, I guess, with this Web3 forum and then consolidating the governance process. Yeah, and I guess the average is higher on Cosmos, but I guess typically there's a lot of higher participation rates in Cosmos. But looks like we have Dillon joining us as well here.
Hey everyone. Sorry, I had a little trouble with 2FA and I got logged out, so I'm finally here, but I just hopped in, so I'll introduce myself, help start Commonwealth. Super happy to be working with everyone in the 1inch community and yeah, just continuing to get governance into a super fun place.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys all for attending again. Rhys, you mentioned something about like log in with your wallet, log in with Ethereum. How does that process work from like a UX point of view? Like, do the users still need to link an email to it, or can they just like log in with sign a transaction with their Ethereum wallet? How does that work?
Yeah, it's totally up to the user on if they want to link an email. You can just log in with your wallet or just your email. But again, if there's token gating in certain areas of the forum, like you wouldn't be able to get access to that if you just link your email. But this may have been mentioned on Twitter or something. We can actually import all of the existing content on Discourse. So all posts, user profiles, and the history tied to user profiles. So in order for users to, I guess, claim their their user profile. You just log in with the same email as you had on Discourse, and then all of your post history and basically your entire profile is saved on Commonwealth.
Oh, so during this migration, users will still have access to their entire history, right? Nothing's getting lost then. That's kind of...
No,
that's really
nothing.
cool.
Yeah, nothing lost. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how we just kind of, it seems like the Ethereum space just kind of fell into Discourse, just kind of almost we're a creature of habit, I guess. It's not really a Web3 aligned platform. I mean, it's good for discussions and stuff, but if you want to do things like a big point of feedback we got was users wanted to do login with Ethereum on our governance forum. Our server is hosted with Discourse, and it's not supported there. So we just couldn't offer users like a feature that they wanted to do, because they don't allow third-party plugins on their platform. So I guess I'm just trying to say I'm very excited to move forward with a platform that's actually aligned with our values here in this space.
Yeah, it's like Discourse is the default. And yeah, I guess I mentioned the 3 to 5% in Ethereum. Not a lot of high percentage of participation ends up happening on Web 2 forums. So yeah, I think it's definitely important to have a more Web 3 aligned platform to get that participation up. And yeah, super excited to see what 1inch does on Commonwealth. Going to be great.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping that it's going to really smooth out the whole governance experience if we can put everything kind of in one. I know centralized is the dirty word in this space, but a central location, a decentralized central location, I guess. People, like the long-term vision I have is people being able to actually delegate and vote on proposals straight from the forums there. And it looks like you have most of that functionality already in place.
And this is Dillon here. And that's totally what we want as well. We do always laugh at the word central. We always like to say all in one. It definitely feels like it's a little bit more palatable. We have a small kind of like cohort of, I guess, like alpha and / like beta testers. And so if anyone wants to kind of come join that, and yeah, we can come up with a better word, we can figure that out. But really to your point around kind of like not just doing governance and like the proposal flow, there's so much more that we feel like, and we know that goes into it. It's the drafting of it. It's the, getting feedback from maybe a working group or a sub DAO. And then it's, putting it not just on chain, but to the discussion forum. And then what you mentioned, kind of like the signaling, polling, and like actually voting. But then you need the delegates. And so it's a really complicated process. And so, like, as Rhys kind of mentioned as well, like getting that just like initial hook in of just like 10%, we've seen is like some small amount of like critical mass where it feels like it's, I don't know, makes governance more real time in some ways, but like not overwhelming. And like just in the future over the next year, like we really do want to work with the community to like make it fun. And like, I actually just used this word yesterday, but like governance and like community should feel kind of like a real-time strategy game in the same sense that like DeFi feels like super real time and like super fun to use to go in and out. And certainly, during DeFi summer, that was like at the height of the boom or whatever, and just like how many yield farms or whatever were out there. We'd love to work with the community to like help kind of like bring that, just like total token holder percentage up. And like as a result, like, or just doing that, we need to like create like great new experiences to like make dashboard super fun to use, just bring visibility to the whole process, do rewards, all these things definitely fit within our scope. And delegation and like making that process visible is all part of that.
Yeah, the visibility of the process is very important, I think. I mean, right now, I think every DAO kind of suffers this right now, but the governance is spread across multiple different platforms. They might have Discourse for their forum, Discord for casual discussions, or actually you oftentimes see like intense actual like high level discussions in the Discord forum that are just completely lost to the rest of the crowd. You have Twitter, people delegating on the app's website, and then you have snapshot voting also. It's just spread across a bunch of different things right now. And in order to get people onboarded right now into 1inch governance, we have about 3 or 4 different locations they need to go to, which it's a big hurdle for new users,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's to add on to that, it's kind of like how 1inch is solving like fractured liquidity. Commonwealth is solving fractured governance, like in the sense that it's like able to bring it all in one place.
That's all right. We might have to use that, and it's really great. No, it's
Perfect
totally
partnership there.
that's right. And I don't know if Rhys or Joji, if they actually mentioned kind of like the work, and this is unannounced, I guess, so far, but we'll just go ahead and give a sneak preview. Linked roles just dropped for Discord, and over the next basically week, we had like a Discord bot that we have been working on, but we'll be kind of like upgrading it to include linked roles. And so just like to basically your guys' point around the kind of like fracturing of governance, that's like what we're working towards. And so, the three spots you mentioned was like the delegation site, the, on within the DAO Discord, and now the forum. At least we're starting to tackle like one of them. And so, linking your role directly, you should be able to see it on Commonwealth. Second, like discussions, like we want the bot to be like the place where, I guess like discussions, polls, whatever else, potentially votes. That would be super cool. Can happen directly within Discord, and you can push and pull, write comments in here that show up on the forum, have summaries of like governance activity, special channels that do get created that may be ephemeral and then, just like go away. And then, the record of discussions will show up on the forum, all kind of like in service of making that kind of fractured governance experience like unfractured and more whole. So it's still in the works. And again, we're super happy to be working together, especially if that's like a pain point. We want to make sure it's smooth as butter, so to speak.
Yeah, and I see Jordan sharing snapshots and discussions in the governance channel. The Common Bot actually does that automatically, so it can send snapshots whenever snapshot goes live in a discussion post happens. It can send notifications to Discord as well, which is good. So.
Oh, cool. I'm definitely a source of human error there. I'm not always 100% consistent with updating the 1IP's channel. So that's awesome that a bot can just...
Yeah. And that's the BDA governance, I guess we all have to live with, or BDA chat GPT, maybe that's the updated version.
Awesome.
And then I guess speaking about roles in a little bit, I guess we can talk about this, Dillon, is the rules and roles in Commonwealth. So soon, I guess Q1 probably will be similar to the how roles works in Discord. You'll be able to assign roles within Commonwealth and then grant permissions based off of those roles. So think about like, I guess in 1inch's case, the channel, have a channel that delegates can just post in, for example. So yeah, that'll be exciting. And then I guess you can also have those roles reflected, the roles on Discord reflected on Commonwealth as well. So having like a seamless, validated process across the two platforms.
So when you mention roles, is it like 1inch core contributor or DAO contributor, or like what do you mean by that when you say roles?
Similar, I guess similar to Discord here. Yeah, you could assign like a core contributor's roles. It's like up to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And can you like manage permissions based off of those roles? Like if we had 1inch recognized delegates that the DAO basically whitelisted a set of delegates saying we want these people to be recognized delegates, could we whitelist them participating in certain chat rooms where I guess everybody can see it, but only they can actually talk there?
Yeah, actually 100% to really add on to what Rhys had just mentioned. It's both the custom roles and permissions, basically. And ideally, we can have like the bidirectional syncing. And so if something has been created in Discord, and this is something that we would have to work through, but yeah, just having them automatically sync that to Common.
Very cool.
Actually have a question, just a general question. So you guys interact and have like some good insight to many different DAOs. And I'm just curious to hear like, what would you guys see as the like biggest, most common issue that DAOs face? Like as far as, just in like a general sense, like if you guys had to pick one off the top of your head.
I mentioned participation rates, but I feel like that's a cop out because I already like kind of addressed that. But I think just aligning on a general direction is important. It increasing efficiency that way, kind of aligning the DAO into one mission or direction.
instead of kind of the community thinking one thing and then the core contributors maybe having a different direction in their mind. I see a lot of co-creating of the mission of the DAO and a vision for the future. DYDX did this where they co-created kind of a mission for the DAO and the project, which is really great. And then Osmosis actually took that and they're working through like a mission for the DAO. I guess a mission to work towards aligning all the stakeholders towards one direction. Juno did vision for the future, kind of outlining how the core team, what the core team is building towards and what's in the pipeline, and then aligning the DAO on that, and getting feedback and co-creating their vision with that. I don't know if Dillon has any other issues that come to mind.
It's definitely like if we want to call co-creation kind of like proposal creation, but like around more, I don't want to say touchy, like more abstract things. I would basically second what Rhys has mentioned there. But it's generally, it just feels like it's always tough to get that initial like ball moving in that direction. And so like if there's a few proposals or things, we want to try to help to make it easier for that process. So sharing best community practices to like make that possible, templates that people can kind of choose from, surfacing other insights from other communities, but definitely around kind of, the creation process. Second thing would definitely be just around kind of like the getting, get out the vote, efforts, just to circle back to the fragmentation. Everyone's got, competing interests in real life, online, offline, and stuff like that. And just making sure people know what's up is always a secondary challenge. So notifications and making sure that the interface is just super easy to vote. That's all kind of that definitely would be the kind of classic second thing.
Makes sense. We're actually in the middle of launching Kava right now, and that co-creation piece is really important for them. So with the forum launch, we're working through, I guess, how to co-create with the community more, get them more involved. So thinking about different ways the community can get more insight into what the core team's working on, I think that's really going to be really important.
I'm excited for the Sybil resistant aspect of having, I guess, wallets holding tokens tied to people, tied to forum accounts. And on the same line of thought, some of the proposals our recognized delegates are coming up with are focused on direct incentivization for like governance participation. Like if someone makes a proposal that makes it all the way through our governance process and is included in the 1inch protocol, that author would be able to get an airdrop of some USDC or 1inch tokens, some compensation there. Currently, there's not really a streamlined way for us to do that, because we don't require people to post their wallet addresses when they make a proposal. So some people might just be leaving money on the table. But if everyone has an account tied to their wallet, it'll be a lot easier to do stuff like that.
And that's super exciting, honestly. Like, and governance often doesn't feel like, it's exciting, but like that really, like what you just described, like I feel like hopefully for the 1inch community, just like continuing to get people involved. And like I don't want to say like, well, it's like a professional class, but like it just is important, and like it helps like the show go on. And so that's super cool.
I think lack of incentives is holding back a lot of DAO governance right now, since it's fun, but it's still work, making a proposal and bringing it through the entire governance process. And there's a lot of coordination, a lot of writing, a lot of, arguing, to be frank. And kind of the DAO space in general is kind of asking a lot of people to just do that for free right now. And it's just not, it seems like it's not really a sustainable model.
I think we totally agree with you, and it's kind of along that other axis of like continuing to make like governance or just community in general like into that. And maybe this is actually a good way to frame it or not, but like a real-time strategy game in the same way that DeFi felt with all the incentives. Like it does feel like kind of we're in that phase before the summer where we need to try a bunch of different things, and like we know what the problems are, like we know what DAOs like bring, in terms of like decentralization, like working together with people across the globe and like moving forward on a specific project, but getting that whole kind of like process like moving, it's so tough. And so, again, like, these are all like super awesome things to be thinking about. And I mean, I'm just like thinking about like 3 or 4 different potential like small product things that we can do to make that easier, whether it's like automatically doing the disbursements, having leaderboards that actually show, specifically the progress on those things. Yeah, I don't know. It's all stuff that, yeah, we hope to help you guys on.
It seems like we'd be able to track governance across all platforms easier with Commonwealth if we link in the Discord roles with the forum ID, and we're able to actually see like which a lot of people don't use the same alias, on Discord and on Discourse. So it would be cool to link those across all platforms and get a good measure of who's actually consistently participating, since we have people who are very active in the Discord, heavy hitters that just don't really want to go on the forum that often. Maybe the forum's too slow moving for them, and it'd be a shame for them to be left out of any incentives.
Yeah, it's, and I have like, to 2 things on that. And this is definitely something that I would love to get community feedback on, is like, first is, well, the incentives part, and then just like the friction of moving. And so hopefully as we kind of like integrate and any bi-directional kind of like governance efforts, folks can like continue to like, as you said, like weigh in on governance stuff, and, potentially like move upstream or downstream on that process if we can continue to get the UIs and other things right. And along the identity part, this isn't something I think we'll have, definitely can't promise during like the next few weeks, but certainly something that we're thinking about is like, we know it's like super important to like, there's a lot of anime abbeys or PFPs in the crowd now. And with that, just making sure that we can keep kind of like, the various identities we hold, separated or together in the ways that we want them is super important. So we are also thinking about kind of like integrating, I guess, like zero knowledge proofs or DIDs and verifiable credentials, if those words are not too gigabrain right now, so that you can preserve your privacy across these platforms, but still get that kind of attribution.
Cool. Do you want to give a quick breakdown of that? I know most of the audience has probably heard the term zero knowledge proof, but they might not know what it is in this context. We hear zero knowledge proof with like ZK Sync, and we think it's a scalability solution. You're talking about more of a privacy solution with this?
Yeah. Definitely that's the axis that we're thinking around. And so, yeah, for I mean, the super colloquial thing that like how I like to think about zero knowledge proofs in the privacy context is very much, it's an inside joke, basically, like done with a computer. So like I have like a piece of information, and just like, by like a small glance, talking to a friend, that person knows like that, oh, they know we're talking about the same thing. And so, like, obviously it's done in abstracted and like done with math in the same way that we trust the crypto ecosystem. But like in this context, it would be, I have my Discord address, and then like I wink at the computer. Sorry, I don't have a better way to, but yeah, they know that, oh, this is linked to my address, basically on chain in a privacy preserving way.
Okay, so regarding credentials, maybe we could, I guess, take it out of the blockchain space. I'd be able to, if I had let's say my college diploma, my university diploma, I'd be able to prove to somebody that I am actually certified in my degree without actually doxing myself and showing them my entire transcript.
Yes, definitely.
Medical records also.
Medical records, yes, man. If we get medical records on chain, then we truly know crypto's won. That's for sure. Yeah.
I could be able, like, the whole vaccine thing was a huge debate in the US. I guess with zero knowledge proofs, you could prove that you had the vaccine or you had COVID and recovered. Like you have the antibody, without going into the political mess that was whether or not the vaccine or antibodies are better. It's just.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And actually, there's sorry, this is like a one small pet and thing for like zero knowledge proofs that I've really wanted to. I have no idea like what the go to market would be, but like I just never want to fill in a form again ever in my life. And like, having it's like kind of, I don't want to store like my social security number or like passport number, like, like a vaccine, like code if I need to, in like my Chrome extension or Brave or whatever I use. And so I do feel like, I hope that, zero knowledge proofs could play a role in this privacy preserving context where it's just like click a button, oh, this is for this, and they know they can, I don't actually have to put in the information, but
Yeah, especially if it's tied to your wallet, if we have like a kind of a universal login across the web using our Ethereum wallet, and we have all of our credentials, zero knowledge proof attached to that, you'd never have to fill out like another sign up to a website again. It's just so much friction.
yeah. And wow, I feel like we're we're evolving. We said, maybe at the start of the conversation, Commonwealth was all about all-in-one governance, and then it was solving fractured governance, and now it's never having a sign up again. And maybe we're evolving the mission just as we speak. So that's that's kind of fun.
Kind of a good direction to balance both together.
No, for sure. And I mean, there's ways in which, and to tie it back even into like specific governance here, I don't know, like there's a lot of fun ways in which like it can be like done. So like, I'm a huge fan of collecting POAPs like at like ETH event, ETH Denver or DevCon or whatever. And I don't know, there's like, I guess like a small amount of doxing that happens, like, but like, how could that be tied into the governance process? There's some people that are working on kind of like NFT, like proof of holding NFT as like a ZK type of solution. And so like, could that be integrated into the governance process? And like, I don't know, some things there. It's all, I don't know, everything is governance in some shape or form.
Yeah.
Be really cool. There's also like, I mean, to add on to that also, like for example, for events like at conferences, a lot of times like these projects have like giant wait lists and like giant sign up lists. And so like I've seen some events will like offer spots to like their parties to like unique members of the community. So it'd actually be kind of cool to have like governance participants like be able to have like some sort of VIP access to like events, and also like the whole system for like registering for events. You have to like fill out this form and like submit your information, which like, I don't know about you, but every time I submit a form, like I put my phone number in and like I get a ton of spam calls afterwards. So yeah, it just might maybe be another cool solution.
Actually, I mean, if we're just riffing ETH Denver, I guess 4. I mean, how many? It's in March, right? I don't know if we can get the ball rolling in this amount of time, because I feel like there's a few things, but like as we help with the 1inch community and governance process, I don't know, it could be cool. We could do a co-hosted event, and we could actually say like, oh, proof of governance participation as like one part to like, boost you on the list, or we don't want to make any event like exclusive, but like as kind of you mentioned already, like the governance is work, and so it should be rewarded. It doesn't always have to be financial, but just being able to kind of like enjoy the fruits of I don't know, our labors, so to speak, like in person, that can be super cool. And then zero knowledge can also play a role in there, so you don't have to like docs IRL. Just putting that out there, trying to put that energy in the world. We'll see if we can do something.
It's kind of funny how we do governance in this space. I mean, most of it's token-based governance, so the more capital has more of a vote. But at the same time, I personally don't really want to vote with wallets that financially dox myself. You kind of want a burner wallet, or not a burner wallet, but kind of a public-facing address. And in that public-facing address, you don't want to have all your money in the world, so people see every single transaction you ever did. Hopefully, zero knowledge proofs have a working solution for this in the near future.
And actually, and on that specific pain point, it's super true. Like I totally feel that pain. And I guess there's some EIPs that we're tracking that are like, even without zero knowledge, like should be able to go, I guess, like part of the way there. And like, what do I mean by that? Sorry, without just like talking around it. It's basically like delegated multisigs. Not delegated multisigs, but I'm specifically thinking of delegate.cash. I can't remember what EIP number, but basically delegating the EOA. So your address that you own or my address that I own, I'll delegate my vote functionality to the specific address. And how would this work? All right, if I have my address, and then on Common, like I just have this like, smart contract player that has these delegate functionalities, and then I delegate to someone else or run as a delegate in the governance process. It's kind of shielded from, the original ownership. a little bit of misdirection, but like a lot of different people will be interacting with this like one specific wallet or delegate contract. And so like there's some, I guess, like anonymity by, I don't know, obfuscation that may be happening. One of many people doing this functionality. And it's, yeah, I hopefully I made that concrete enough. I would actually need to pull up the specific EIP to make sure I'm not getting my implementations wrong. But
yeah. Well, thank you. We have to move down the agenda here. I think we're on 1inch DAO governance now. We have a couple recognized delegates here. I think one from StableNode and one from Bankless DAO, Bubblemaps. We're hoping you guys could just give kind of a breakdown of what you guys have been working on the 1inch DAO over the past couple months or past month now. You've been working on or commenting on what you plan to push through over the next few weeks or months. Do you want to start, Kene?
Hey everyone, my name is Kene. As John said, I work with StableNode as a governance analyst, and I cover 1inch along with Bobby. So 1inch governance has been really interesting, it's been really cool, especially with the iteration of the staking pods. It's been a lot of really cool stuff going on and a lot of cool stuff coming. I believe, crypto is all about incentivization, and, I think 1inch understands that well. And, by the time we're done building out the initial staking pods, processes, proposals, we have more proposals that are going to build on top of the staking pods infrastructure that we're currently building. So it's a cool couple of months. So my advice would be look at the forums, because that's probably where the best offer is, and try and engage with the community. We hope to put a premium on governance participation, because we believe like beyond just, financial value, your trading volume, we believe that actively participating in building 1inch through participating, commenting on forums, putting up a proposal, and voting, actually, I think it does a lot more to solidify your stake. So beyond just staking your 1inch tokens, we'll also be hopefully rewarding people who participate in governance. So in addition to the already existing staking proposal that is already in the community call chat, I implore you to read through it and give us your feedback. I'm sure we'll be able to use it. And we're building another proposal that's going to leverage the existing stake to 1inch and how exactly we are going to incentivize people who utilize 1inch products. I can't say too much, but like there's more stuff coming in relation to staking proposals, staking pods, and governance incentivization. So that's what we've been working on. So there will be a lot more incentive mechanisms, Lego blocks, more building stuff on top of 1inch and leveraging 1inch's unique position in the ecosystem to deliver more value to users, institutional investors, whoever it is that participates in 1inch. We're looking to create more utility for our users and the crypto community at large. So it's an exciting couple of months. It's all going to start with the staking pods proposal. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to any follow-ups. We'll be pretty active there. So that's it from me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That's all really very interesting. Yeah, I'm very excited also. Sanad is with Bankless DAO, Bubblemaps, and they were actually big proponents of the Commonwealth platform. Do you want to speak on 1inch DAO governance or maybe Commonwealth, Sanad?
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm Sanat, part of the Bubblemaps crew, and I will kind of keep it nice, crisp and short. First of all, thank you all for this presentation. I think in general there have been so many things mentioned. So like this is such a broad discussion, and this is all important and kind of concerning. And to your point, Jordan, what you said like about centralization, I don't think centralization is necessarily bad. I think we should rather focus on centralizing knowledge. And I think this is something that Commonwealth kind of tries to do. And I think we should, in general, support projects and protocols that actually help us go towards a kind of future where we are actually able to take our information from a place that is not necessarily governed by a centralized entity, but kind of possesses the information that we need. So decentralized decision-making and governance, but centralized knowledge. So this is kind of the fundamental I use. And the DAO plans in general, actually, we try to increase and think about models to incentivize governance and community participation. Proposals I could highlight would be the first one that kind of goes into our vision, values, and mission for 1inch and kind of the 180 days that we are in. So like just in a nutshell, 5 things. It would be to kickstart and kind of bootstrap the decentralization process of the DAO of 1inch in general. We are aware of, lots of protocols in Web3 they are well functioning, but they are fairly centralized. And so through this decentralization process, we try to figure out which models to set up, always with iteration with the community, in order to decentralize the protocol over time. And I brought in community, so we also want to gather feedback from the community along the way in the kind of iterative developing process, governance process. We want to increase the participation from the community, or at least think about models and kind of drafts to give something the community to chew on. We want to incentivize talent within the DAO community to come and kind of become stewards. This is a nice part because it actually takes courage and it takes responsibility for people to come up and actually take ownership and some guidance on a protocol. It's actually a big task, and we try to figure out who is brave enough and has the initial support to do that. And finally, we want to also propose some tokenomics changes. And when it comes to tokenomics, I try to think of not just off-chain but on-chain stuff. And this is where Commonwealth could play a crucial role, because we have to move to on-chain. The protocol is presented on-chain through the multi-signers or through the community, depending on how the kind of on-chain governance is organized. And so everything that kind of leads and guides us towards this direction is, I think, net positive for the whole space. This will be kind of the first proposal, and it's a very short one. And the second one is actually starting to go more deeper into this DAO operational framework that we had in mind. I mean, Keneze already talked about pods. We, of course, had pods in mind as well. Pods is like, think of it as like sub-DAOs, but not really sub-DAOs in this context. They would be more like working groups that have a common mission or purpose or goal. And so one would be around treasury, operations, treasury, another one around operations. And the third one, I think, about community. And, governance takes time. And what we try to do is kind of build towards this environment where we have community members actually influencing the governance process within the protocol that are supported by community itself, and kind of guided towards a direction where we all want to go towards, not just like a centralized party and we all like, yeah, that's great. No, we actually want to take ownership. We want to have our voice heard. Like the 1inch community wants the voice to be heard. And so we want to ensure that we have the systems in place to facilitate that, not just now, but also in the future. So, yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And very excited to be working with you guys also. In the last few minutes here, we have a guest from Bubblemaps that wants to speak about some actually incentivization to use their protocol. And then after that, we're going to wrap this up with kind of an outro. Yeah. So thank you. Nick, do you want to speak on the Bubblemaps contest?
Awesome. Thank you for having me. That's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. So I just wanted to kind of tell the community about a fun game that we're currently running hands in hands with 1inch and other great protocol on DeFi. So essentially, just to give you a quick understanding, Bubblemaps is a fun and interactive way of exploring blockchain data. So you can explore any token or NFT collection. And in the case of 1inch, for example, if you're going to their bubble map, what you're going to see are 150 bubbles that represents the top 150 wallets holding 1inch. But the best part is that with these bubbles, you can see mutual connections between the wallets. So if there's been any Ethereum transfer or 1inch transfer between this wallet, the bubbles are going to be connected. So you can, with this tool, see how truly decentralized 1inch is, and actually see that they have done a tremendous job in how they have distributed the supply over time. And the game that we're currently running is called Christmas Handdown. There are other big DeFi projects involved like Joe Protocol, Venus, Blackpool, so some very relevant projects in the space. And within the bubble map of 1inch today at 8 p.m. CET, so in about 4 hours, we're going to hide a secret. We're going to hide a treasure within the bubble map of 1inch. So your goal as the community is going to go on their bubble map, click on the bubble until you find the secret bubble. And the secret bubble, once you find it, there will be winners that will earn some 1inch token and some other token that will put in the prize. So this is a fun on-chain game that you can do. And the announcement will be on our Twitter tonight. And that will be, of course, shared by 1inch on Twitter and on the Discord community. And there's one thing that I'd like to add is, of course, it's not we want to make it a bit hard, so it's not necessarily going to be on the current bubble map of 1inch. This can be in past versions of the bubble map of 1inch, because with our tool you can rewind the tape and see the distribution of 1inch in the past. So yeah, I hope it's going to be a fun game for everyone. It's also a good incentive to learn about on-chain data, what it is, what are wallets and connections, and what does it mean. And yeah, that's it essentially, my friend. Thank you for allowing me to explain it.
Well, thank you very much. I dropped a link to the 1inch bubble map in the community calls text channel. Yeah, everyone get over there in a couple hours and see if you can find the prize. And just kind of an overview of Bubblemaps, it shows on-chain relationships between like 1inch token holders, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when you think about the holders of a specific token, usually you go on Etherscan and you have this list of wallets, and each of them holding a certain percent of the supply. But when you look at this list only, it's a very one-dimensional way of seeing the holders, because for all you know, all the wallets could belong to the same person, right? You have no idea, or you have no idea of, are these wallets connected? Do these wallets know each other? Do they belong to the same person or the team? And this is the whole purpose of Bubblemaps. Like, by plugging these wallets as bubbles in a 2D plan, you can see their mutual connections. And if you see big conglomerate of wallets who interact with each other, who send each other Ethereum or 1inch, then you can be like, what is going on? Why are those wallets transferring funds to each other? And we've seen this times and times again with maybe smaller tokens on other chains, like big conglomerate of wallets that represent 30% of the supply, 50% of the supply, and that's actually belonging to the same person. But even some large tokens, you'd be surprised how even some big tokens are actually, kind of unsavory in the way that all the holders communicate to each other. But I can't say any names here.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And we're going to wrap up the call now. So thank you very much, Nick, for taking time out of your day and joining us here, and also for that awesome contest you guys are running. Thank you to the recognized delegates for coming in here and giving us a rundown on the DAO. And huge thanks to Commonwealth. Very excited to be moving over to your platform. And just to give everyone an idea of the timeline, we're thinking within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're maybe the week after Christmas, or maybe the first week of January, but definitely no longer than that. We were planning to do it a little earlier, but the forums are just so hot right now, we didn't want to pause them for a day during the transition, since there will be about 1 day where the forum will be frozen. And then after that, you'll use the same URL and it'll just take you to the new Commonwealth forum rather than the one we have now. Oh, and regarding the Pope distribution, the same as it was last time, we're using the bankless degen bot. You can see the event started in the degen Pope bot channel. I believe the command is /get Pope. Do you remember, Matt or Tanner?
Yeah, I can.
It's / claim.
Yep. So in just a minute, we'll enable the claims for anybody in the call who's been here and didn't deafen the audio of it. And you can just type /claim in the community calls text chat, and you will be able to claim your Pope if you're eligible. And a quick tip, which we'll add in the chat as well, is don't hit enter too fast after you type /claim. Make sure the actual command shows up and then hit enter, and then it'll talk to the bot and give you your Pope. And we'll post a picture of there too, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Thank you. And thanks to the community for attending this. Be sure to claim your Pope, check out Bubblemaps, and stay tuned for the Commonwealth migration and the staking pods proposal also. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here right on the hour. So thank you again, and hope everyone has a good weekend, and see you in the new year.
Thanks, everyone.
Holidays, and super excited to be working with Val.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks for leading this call, Jordan. Happy holidays and happy new year, everyone.
Thank you.